Welcome back. As we reported earlier, the Evansville Water and Sewer Utility launches a communication effort called Clear Path to make property owners aware of the federal mandate to clean and inspect more than 600 miles of sewer lines. I'm joined tonight by Water and Sewer Utility Director Alan Mounts. Alan, as always, thanks for joining us tonight to explain kind of a complicated process. Okay, we're talking about 600 miles of sewer lines underneath the streets of Evansville, Indiana, and you say there's actually more than that, but it's the 600 miles that this mandate is covering right now.
That's correct. We're supposed to clean anywhere from 8-inch sewer lines to 15-inch sewer lines, and there's 610 miles of that throughout the system.
And I know it's something that, well, without too much detail, how do you do that? I mean, the process, I've seen those big vacuum trucks or what have you, but
they're very large-scale trucks that basically flush the water through the lines to a point, and then they drag it back to vacuum up the debris that's in the line, and which goes into the large tank containers within the trucks.
And how far along are we in the project now?
We're about halfway through the process. We still have maybe 270 miles to go. And when I say to go, it has to be completed by November of 2017, 100% complete, not only of the sewer lines, but also of manholes. And we have 16,000 manholes. You wouldn't think we have that many.
Are you going to be able to meet that deadline, you think? Or?
We're on track to do that, but that's why we've had the Clear Path program to ask for homeowners, property owners' assistance in getting that done, particularly as we try to get through the lines by what's called easements.
Okay, and I won't say maybe I'm using the wrong terminology, but since this is a federal mandate, Big Brother is kind of watching this via a little camera that you have that can actually go into those lines. And what does that do?
Well, it's a digital camera, and it's part of our inspection tool that actually runs through the sewer line and looks for roots or broken lines or others that might indicate that there is a potential collapse that's there, or just really assessing the health of the line. In some cases, most of the lines are okay, but in other cases we have to dig and replace the lines.
And that's where some of the concern is, especially as you've started on the outskirts moving into the central part of the city, and that is exactly where these lines are. I mean, let me give you an example. Say like if someone back in the 1960s decided we're going to expand our garage and build out a little bit, they may have actually built over that line.
We have seen those situations occur. Yard barns, landscaping.
Swimming pools?
We've come across 3 swimming pools so far that have been built on top of sewer lines. Wouldn't believe it would happen, but we found them. So.
And obviously the concern there is what happens, say like theoretically, if the camera picks up damage that has to be repaired, again, I have to dig up the swimming pool and tear the garage down, or what happens from that point on?
You know, those are generally the worst case scenarios, but if the line has to be repaired, then we'll have to remove whatever is obstructing us to get access to that. And you can imagine backhoes are pretty big pieces of equipment.
And who picks up the tab on that?
It's the property owner's responsibility for removing whatever is causing the barrier. Or if we have to remove it, then it's still the property owner's responsibility to put that back if they wish to do so.
And I know, especially, it's human nature. A lot of people in Evansville, and this is just not an Evansville situation. No. This is happening all over, especially in older cities.
It is.
But you never really think about the possibility, well, I put that fence there, but is that over a sewer line? I mean, you would think that, and there's a lot of people like that. A lot of people don't have blueprints of their houses like
they don't.
My dad did, but that was a long time ago.
Right. You know, some people have lived in their homes for decades, and it's not been an issue. The mandate wasn't existing before and may have not even had their sewer lines cleaned. Or other people just don't realize it and forget about it.
So what do you do?
Well, that's the reason we have the program, a Clear Path, to help educate and create awareness, and we're providing some tools where homeowners can find out whether or not they have a sewer line that's running usually in the backside of the property. If it's out on the street, for the most part, it's usually not an issue. But when developments were built, the sewer lines were run between adjoining properties and to save money, if you will.
And Chris, if you can pull that website up, it's called, it's part of the evansville.org site, and it's got the Clear Path banner.
It does. It's EWSU.com/ either Clear Path or if you want to go specifically to where the map is on the easements, it'd be ewsu.com/easements.
Okay, we're working to get that website up, and Chris, at will, whenever you want to patch it up, go ahead, and that'll give people an idea what they're looking for there. And
A clear clue for a homeowner would be if there's a manhole in their backyard,
okay,
there's a sewer line
potential, yeah, obviously, okay, and a lot of these lines run between, right there's that website right there, and if you just it's a fairly, I looked at it earlier tonight, fairly easy to navigate. But you know, it's amazing what you can find out about your own property sometimes with satellite imagery and sites like this that you may not be aware of, and this is a perfect example. So, especially in the central part of the city, how much of a problem do you think this might really be?
We've identified probably 24,000 properties throughout the entire system that has an easement going through it.
Okay.
And
an easement by nature that's where
that's where the utilities are located, and we're about halfway through the project, so maybe 12,000 or so properties. As developments were built, either as you moved out to the, let's say, the east side, you can see areas where they would have, you wouldn't see manholes in the street, but you'd see them in the backyards.
Right.
And that's where you'd see
And
that.
we've seen, it seems like right now, there's a lot of water and sewer line construction going on, especially it seems like on the near east side, out in the UE area, all the way down to Washington Avenue. And this is this part of the mandate on the separation system?
Part of that project was one that really began several years ago, and it was more around stormwater and flooding issues to help provide relief there. And that's been a major project for us to do. But there's always construction work going on around the city.
And
several different areas.
And you have a public forum if people have a question, and I know you're going to have questions. You've got a public forum coming up tomorrow night.
We do. We call it a community conversation. We're going to be doing this through WNIN at 7 o'clock.
Right.
It's going to be recorded. It'll also be broadcast over the radio station, their station. And so we encourage people they can tweet, they can do Facebook messages, they can call in. We're just looking for ways to engage the public.
That rock garden I've got in my backyard. What's underneath
Look
that?
out, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. All right, Alan Mouse, thank you a lot
Thank you,
for
Brad.
joining us tonight. And, of course, tune in tomorrow night on NIN if you have any questions that you need to have answered. Thanks again.
Thank you
for
very
joining
much,
us.
Brad.
Okay.
Thanks. Appreciate it.